We spent the better half of 2024 on the road. We left Denver, Colorado on May 1st and traveled across the country a few times, going from Denver to Florida and back, and then across to different national parks and state parks. I thought it would be fun to review some of our statistics from last year, including how many miles we traveled, towing miles, miles per gallon, some of our RV expenses, and so forth. So if you're a data enthusiast like me, I have plenty of Excel spreadsheets, bar charts, graphs, all kinds of data points. If you don't want to feel like you're sitting in math class, I do have some pictures and video to share to make it as interesting as possible. So let's dive into the details. Like I said, we left Denver, Colorado on May 1st and traveled throughout the United States for the rest of the year. When we first left, we had a few vacations planned, so the map of our travels is kind of crisscrossing the country because we didn't want to miss out on any of those vacations or cancel any of those vacations that we already had commitments for. So we left Denver, we went to Arkansas, going down to Florida. We spent some time in Florida. We went back to Colorado by way of Texas for a vacation that we had planned. From there, we went up to Loveland, over across into Utah, spent some time in Moab, and then we crisscrossed back for an appointment that we had for service in Missouri. From Missouri, we went down to Alabama, got some solar panels put on, and upgraded our entire electrical system. And then next we drove a little bit further down to Tallahassee, got our Airstream as well as the truck ceramic coated. Then we made our way to Florida, where we again had another vacation planned. From Florida, we made our way west to Louisiana, stopping at some family's house for Thanksgiving and a wedding. And then we made our way further west to West Texas, where we spent time with family for Christmas and New Year's. Overall, our total distance traveled for 2024 was approximately 20,000 miles, and then our towing miles was 11,091, so right at 11,000. Nearly half of our miles were towing miles. I did have the average miles per gallon on both, but I cannot find that statistic currently, so if I do find it, I will put it here because I just can't remember it off the top of my head. This resulted in 244 nights on the road. With all of that crisscrossing the country, we spent the most time in Florida. We spent 56 nights, followed closely by Texas, 46 nights, and then the next runner up was Alabama, where we spent 22 nights, which is a bit surprising because Alabama wasn't even on our list when we started this whole trip. And then the fourth place, which is tied, is Colorado at 19 nights, as well as Louisiana at 19 nights. I have an Excel spreadsheet that I track all of our stays on, so I do calculate them in categories. As far as BLM lands, we are escapees members, so we have escapee discounts. A family and friends house, any kind of government, so local parks, state parks, national parks. We are a Good Sam member, so Good Sam Parks. Harvest Host. And then I do have a category for hotels. We had some work done this past year on the camper, so we were unable to spend the night in it. And those are hotels, Airbnbs, cabins, that kind of thing. I didn't feel like it was appropriate to categorize it as an RV camping, so I wanted to split it out separately so it has its own category, and we'll continue that for the coming years. We also have independent RV resorts, KOA campgrounds, service centers. So when we are able to spend the night at the service center in the camper, I have that separated out. And the last category is rest stops. So this could be Cracker Barrels, Walmart's, rest stops throughout where we spend the night that doesn't necessarily fit into the above categories. By and large, the most nights we spent were at state, local, and federal national parks, the ones that charge fees. We spent 111 nights there for an average of $36.10 per night. This does include any kind of park passes, so we do have a couple of state parks as well as national park passes that we had to purchase, so that is included in the average. The next category is the independent RV parks. So we spent 50 nights there for an average of $37.92 per night. One more category that I do want to note is Harvest Host. We have been Harvest Host members for approximately 6 months. We did spend 12 nights in Harvest Host, and although they don't require it, they do ask that you spend money at the host. And then many hosts offer electric hookups, which we were doing at the beginning of our stays there. So those hosts do typically have like a flat fee if you're asking for hookups of sort. I have been calculating like the money that we spend in those. This is maybe not the best calculation, but I just wanted to make sure that we are getting our money's worth. We did spend 12 nights in Harvest Host campsites. Overall, out of the 244 nights, we spent $35.93 per night on average. So that's taking all 244 nights, all of the totals, any of the memberships that we had to purchase, and then any of the discounts that we got, and that gives us the $35.93. All right, our next category is RV expenses. This is a hard one, and I'm not going to share too many details because I believe that everyone has different needs, everyone has different budgets and that kind of stuff. What I will say in this category is when we were planning these trips, we spent a lot of time guessing or estimating how much money we would be spending. So we did have some known factors, right? We use Starlink, so we know exactly how much we pay per month. Our cell phone bills didn't change, so we knew exactly how much that was. I used calculations from previous purchases, knowing how much dog food we would need, how much money we spend on the dogs typically, and then vehicle insurance, health insurance, that kind of stuff. Those are all known factors. So we're able to put those into a spreadsheet to be able to budget for the year. The things that we didn't know, we took guesses at, and we did best guesses. We did plan for $50 per night for lodging, knowing that we enjoy staying at state parks, national forests, that kind of stuff. So slightly lower than your big chain or independent RV parks, as well as we knew for sure we had at least 3 weeks that we were spending with family, so that's $0 per night. I don't feel like I want to make any adjustments, but this would change for you if there's something that you prefer, like if you prefer full hookups all the time or certain chains of RV parks or independent parks, that kind of thing. But you can look at some going rates in areas that you may be traveling and use that for your cost basis. The other thing that was kind of an X factor for us was fuel. We just made a guesstimate based on what the fuel prices were at the time and then how many miles we thought we would be traveling. A couple of other things that were a little bit surprising were propane. We didn't really need a ton of propane. Now that we're in the winter months, we are using propane much faster. So many RV parks, Camping World, Tractor Supply, and other places will refill your propane for you. So that is something that you could use for calculation. The laundry costs vary so greatly for us. It's anywhere from $2.50 per load to wash to up to $6 or $7 just for the washer. And then the dryer is kind of the same, typically cheaper. Sometimes it's $1, but it could go up as high as $3 or $4. The laundry facilities, whether at inside RV parks or external laundry facilities, accept all kinds of different payments. They vary greatly. Some use apps only, some use credit cards only, some are cash only, where you can actually use bills, and others are coin only. I always have various types of payments available because you just never know what that laundry facility is gonna require. And we don't. Am I boring you? Is it boring? And then the final thought on budgeting is, I believe it's really hard to estimate exactly what you're going to spend, but I also believe that history kind of helps you for future. So if you're looking at how much money you're going to spend eating out, how much money you're going to spend doing certain things, the best way to get a good estimate for you is to look at the last 6 months or a year of your spending habits and use that as your basis. You just take whatever your history is and your spending habits and then divide that in your weekly or monthly, and that gets you a good estimate of what you're going to get, something of what you're going to be spending in that category. Something that can get a little bit out of control sometimes for some people is like souvenirs. So we do go and visit a lot of different places, and I always kind of want to take something with us. Luckily our Airstream is small and we don't have a lot of room, so those purchases have to be minimal for us, and so they have to be very intentional for us. I hope these little tidbits do help you. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know and I'm happy to answer them. Like I said, I won't go into the details of our spending because I feel like they're so very individual, but this should give you a good way to estimate what your spending will be or would be, and hopefully kind of set you on a good budget prior to starting. The last thing that I wanted to cover was our fuel. So the F-250 is a diesel, and then obviously there is no, we have no other fuel besides propane, which is its own separate category. So we did, when we first started, we became members of Open Road. Open Roads just announced 3 new things that they're updating. 1, your social security number is no longer required to create an account with them. You can still do the direct draw from a bank account and link a bank account with no additional fees. You also now can link a credit card, but that does come at the cost of a service fee. The service fee is 3%. And then the third thing that they are doing now is they are offering a toll pass that is like all inclusive. It will be one pass, so you don't have to have all the different states passes and know who reciprocates with who. Now, this works across all tollways, so all of the toll passes that you do have can be closed out and you can just use this one. It sounds like it'll be a fairly convenient option and a good way to ensure that you aren't being double charged and that you're covered regardless of where you're going. Last year we spent approximately $167 in tolls. We do use Open Roads for fuel, and I did calculate all of our expenses with them. Some things to note on this is not only do you get a discount, but you are able to use the trucker's lane, which is very nice and convenient because it's a high flow pump. So you're in and out of there much faster, but also much easier because the lanes are designed for 18-wheelers or large rigs. And so you're not having all the tight turns and all of the congestion as you would at regular pumps, and the discount is at the trucker's lane. So that is one fantastic plus. The other thing is that most trucker lanes you can buy DEF at the pump. So that becomes much, much cheaper than buying the boxes or canisters of DEF at the gas stations or supermarket or wherever you purchase them. So I do want to go through what we spent on diesel with Open Roads and how much money we saved, because I think it's important. A lot of people talk about Open Roads and how great it is, but I haven't seen a lot of videos that said like this is how much money we saved using Open Roads. So once again, we were all over the country, which means that the price of fuel varied greatly. So we spent anywhere from $4 per gallon to just under $3 per gallon as far as the posted price. With Open Roads, the posted price for diesel, we purchased approximately 569 gallons of diesel for a total of just shy of $2,000, equaling $3.50 per gallon of diesel. Now this is the posted price. We did get a discount. The discount varies based on the state, based on the vendor and location and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of variables. The discount isn't always the same. So posted price, average price per gallon was $3.51. With the discount, including all of the fees, we spent $1,776, which equals $3.12 per gallon. So we saved approximately 40 cents per gallon using the Open Roads. Purchasing DEF at the pump was significant savings for us. So we purchased approximately 57 gallons of DEF at the pump, spending $240, which equaled on average $4.21 per gallon. That concludes our wrap up for 2024 regarding our expenses, travels, places stayed. We hope that this video was helpful for you. Let us know if you have any questions. We're happy to answer anything you have. And let us know if you want to see something for next year. Like I said, there are certain expenses that I believe are just too personal that I don't necessarily want to dive into. But if there's something you feel like we left out or would be better served, that would be better to add to our video for next year, please let us know. That's all we have for today. Thanks for watching.